And welcome back. You're on centralcoastradio.com where we continue to take a look at the films that are opening over this holiday period now by taking a look at Poor Things, which opened on Boxing Day. Now, this film, of course, has rose to a little bit of prominence over the last couple of weeks because it's been nominated for Best Music or Comedy at the Golden Globe Awards, which pretty much says what everybody overseas has been saying about this film, that it will be an Oscar contender this year. It is from director Yorgos Lanthimos, who seems to be a director that you either love or hate the work of. He's very he creates these strange little films that you either hate or love. And this time around, he has taken a 1992 novel, which is also called Poor Things, and brought it to the big screen. And it basically tells the story of Bella Baxter, played by Emma Stone, who commits suicide and then is kind of harshly brought back to life or reanimated by a doctor that some would say is a genius and others would say is crazy, Dr. Godwin Baxter, played by William Dafoe. Now, Bella is kind of treated as Baxter's property, and then all of a sudden he brings in one of his medical students, Max McCandles, played by Rami Youssef, into the fold and gets him to monitor Bella. Now soon Rami falls in love with Bella, and it's decided that the pair shall marry, but first of all she is whisked away by a cad called Duncan Wedderburn, played by Mark Ruffalo, who takes her on this kind of whirlwind tour, and himself falls in love with her as well. All along, Bella is trying to learn social etiquette and how to speak properly and even what some things are. So it makes for a pretty fantastical kind of viewing when you watch this film. Lee, what are your thoughts on Poor Things?
Okay, so you did mention you're either a lover or hater of this type of work.
Yeah.
And I'm embarrassed to say it, but I was a hater. It just wasn't my type of movie. It is very Frankenstein-esque in the storyline. And I think, I guess you see different phases of Bella's life as she develops. And for me, I just found the initial stages of her learning to talk and walk and do all things a human does, I found it frustrating. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy that part of it. There are some things that are quite morbid, I guess, being that type of film too. I mean, you've got surgery involved, but also surgery in a way that is not maybe moral. It's not a moral type of surgery. It's not a life-saving technique that we would use today. And I think values and morals can be, triggered here if you don't agree with that kind of surgery. So,
it's not really a spoiler if we say it, but he basically puts the brain of her unborn child into Bella's body to reanimate her. So, yeah, it is pretty full on.
Yeah, and there's also animals that are half animals that have been sewn together and all those sorts of things. So this will appeal to people who like that kind of Frankenstein type of movie, and a movie that goes, stretches the imagination of morality and also morals and values, I think.
Yeah.
I also, I guess I struggle with some of the things that the character went through. I feel like there were a lot of sexualized scenes, and I didn't see the need for so many. There were so many that it just felt a bit pervert at times. So for me, this is not a movie I would watch again. It is not a movie that my friendship group would watch. So I couldn't actually, promote it to them. But I know that there is a group of people that would really quite love this movie. Now, what did save it for me in some scenes and made it somewhat watchable was Mark Ruffalo's character, who played Duncan Wedderburn. And I guess he's just got that skill in acting that he takes on such a character who in some ways is a little bit repulsive, or you're thinking, what are you doing? Like, and why would you be pursuing the character of Bella as a romantic partner? But he just brings so much to the role that is what made it watchable for me, I guess, in the second half of the film. And, you know, there were a few times that you had a giggle at what he was doing, what he was saying, and also what happened to him. So I won't give too much of that storyline away, but for me, that was the most watchable part of the movie, was watching Mark Ruffalo's character.
Yeah, he's such an amazing actor. Like, I think he's someone that, because of his role in the Marvel Universe, a lot of people have forgotten what Mark Ruffalo is capable of. There was a 12-month period where he basically made 3 films that I thought he could have won an Oscar for any of them. He made Infinitely Polar Bear, which is about a dad struggling, being bipolar, like trying to be a dad to his kids while suffering from such a debilitating illness. He was in Foxcatcher, of course, which also had the brilliant performance by Steve Carell. And he did Spotlight as well, which was an amazing film. I think we quite often forget, because he's been the Hulk for so long, that he is actually a really, really talented actor. And for me, that's what saved this film. There was 2 things I really liked about this film. I love the universe that Yorgos Lanthimos has created. Like, it's not earthly. It's kind of a weird kind of world. Some people have likened it to Alice in Wonderland, and I guess, like, with the dog duck and things like that, it kind of is a little bit Alice in Wonderland. But I also loved the performances of Emma Stone, Mark Ruffalo, and William Dafoe. I thought the 3 of them were brilliant. And, like, it's interesting as well, because we talk about William Dafoe's character as being a kind of a cruel genius, but that's the life that he's known as well. Like, his body is completely messed up by the experiments that his dad did on him when he was a kid, like removing body parts and stuff like that just to see what would happen. So it's kind of one of those things where it's almost like he's a product of his own environment. Like, he doesn't see what he's done to Bella as wrong, because that's what's happened to him. I thought Emma Stone's performance here was brilliant. Like, there's a lot that she's called upon to do in this movie, and a lot of it is pretty full on. But I do agree with you. I think that the screenwriter Tony McNamara here relies on sex scenes too often. I mean, yes, this is a coming of age kind of story in a sense for the character of Bella, but it just feels at times when you could have gone deeper into her character, or it's just getting interesting about something that's happening or something like that, and then all of a sudden they'll just throw in another sex scene. And a lot of the times it doesn't feel like it needs to be there. We've already understood that part of Bella's life. So I thought that, to me, didn't work. I also like the little bit of dark humor that's in here. You've probably all seen it in the trailer, but, like, for example, because Bella doesn't know social etiquette, at one time a baby's annoying her in a restaurant, and she says, "Excuse me while I go and punch that baby." The audience were laughing out loud, and there's also a lot of laughter that Mark Ruffalo's performance gets out of the audience as well. So, look, this is a movie, like I said, it's going to divide people. You're either going to love it or hate it. I'm expecting this to be one of those films where a lot of people will either give it 5 stars or 1 star, because it's just that kind of film, and that's what this director's films have all been like in the past. So, talking of scores, Lee, what are you going to give this one out of 5, and why?
I'm very harsh. I didn't enjoy it. I'm going to give it 2 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm giving it 3 out of 5. I did like the world that was created, and I liked the performances of Emma Stone, Mark Ruffalo, and William Dafoe, but I just thought that the director and the screenwriter got a little bit lazy in the amount of times that they were like, what are we going to fill this space with? Let's do another sex scene. Got a little bit tiresome for me. So, yeah, I'm going to give it 3 out of 5. Lee gave it 2 out of 5. So go and check out Poor Things. Make up your own mind whether it's a masterpiece or should be in the worst list of the year. But go and check it out. It's released on Boxing Day. It will have a limited release, so make sure you check your local cinema guide to see if Poor Things is showing near you.